Okay, so the second card, we're going to be using some of the same pieces from the first card to make little pots and things for our second greenhouse. Except that with this card, I've included some little birds. I know technically birds don't really belong in the greenhouse, and that's kind of the idea, is we're going to have some birds around the greenhouse. What we're going to need to do first is we're going to be needing to make a top for the greenhouse. So what you're going to want to do first is take your pair of scissors, aim towards the middle. On the side here from the left, or yeah, from the right, you're going to kind of cut towards the middle. Okay. Take that piece of paper that just fell off, lined up with the corner on the far right side, or the far left side, kind of depending on which way you started to cut, and you're going to cut there towards the middle again, okay? So it should end up with a very similar shape, all right? So that's going to go on the front of the card. It's kind of create this kind of shape like this, okay? What we're going to do now is we're going to start out by gluing down the top of the little greenhouse. So you're going to go ahead, you have these little pieces here, so you're going to line them up with the top. And on this side, we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay, so it lines up with the top of the greenhouse. Now at the top there, you can decide to trim that or leave it. I think I'm going to leave it because I kind of like how that looks. But I am on the sides here going to go ahead and trim this so that it's flush with the edge of my piece of vellum. The black here is what's going to give you a guide. That's where you're going to lay your glue down. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and lay that on. There's going to be an 1/16 of an inch border on 3 sides, on the left, right, and on the bottom. It's going to cover up the thinking of you, but that's kind of what I did here on purpose with the kind of greenhouse kind of look, is that I kind of want it to be kind of foggy like this. Okay. All right. So now we're going to build our plants before we get too much further. Okay. So I'm going to make a couple. I'm just going to make a few. I'm not going to get too carried away here. I'm going to make some kind of tapered edges. Make my little lips on my little plants, my little potted plants here. Look at it like that. I have some brown. I'm just going to make a few right now, but again, you can make as many as you'd like, and depending on what you're kind of going for. Maybe you have some cactus, maybe you have some climbing plants. You can kind of think about how you want to do that with your pieces of paper there. So with your olive paper, you can kind of do like some little squiggly lines, and you can do a bunch of those little scraps that are kind of squiggly. So just like with the other card where we did scraps, you can kind of have a climbing plant, but with squiggly lines instead. So alright, so we're going to do some of these kind of wavy lines, and then you can have your little potted plant, put some glue on the other side, and then you can have them all kind of hanging off one side. Oh, the weird and the chunky kind of all hanging together. And you can add in your light and dark green in the same plant. Always makes it look the most interesting. And we're going to have them hang this direction. I might need some more scraps. Never had to say that in my life. Usually there I'm like, I have so many scraps. The cool part about creating like these little fake plants is that they don't really need to be perfect. You can group of scraps together and press them all into the glue all at once. So you have options. It doesn't have to be perfect when you're putting your plants together. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go like this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to be gluing them onto the shelves before I put them into the greenhouse. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue just on the back side of my little plant there. I'm just going to press it onto the little shelf, just right onto that. I'm actually going to press it onto the back side, or just right onto the top of that, just ever so slightly, kind of like this. So it's just kind of resting on the edge of that. Okay, so you can kind of build all your plants and kind of do that as you go. Then I'm just going to continue making these. I'm going to make some little cacti again because those are really easy to make. Let's see, what other really easy little plants can we create here? Let's see. Tuck my little cacti in. I'm reusing at the moment some of these little black pieces from the last card, so that way we can get our little shelves. We can just add our little plants under our little shelves right away. Okay, I'm just going to add one plant to each shelf at the moment. Oh, what else do I want to do here? I got to clean up this other little dingling, my little climbing plant. He's going to need a little bit of help, I can tell right away. Some of his little leaves are going to need to be like softened up a little bit because they have too many sharp edges. Alright. Oh, that's better. Again, it's going to be in a greenhouse, so you're not really even going to be able to see. Okay. Let's see, what else do I want to add? What else? Other kind of plant could we do? How about we'll do a large leaf one? And kind of cut some of these kind of eyeball shapes. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut them in half. And glue those in there too. So starting with the little ones in the very front, kind of closest to the pot bottom there, or like the top of the lip, I guess, or actually rather. Then we're going to go in with our larger ones, kind of go up higher and higher as we go. So you get that kind of idea of like a tall plant. So as we go, we're not really able to see the pieces in front of us. Oops. And then I'm going to need to put a piece of this color behind it again so that the glue doesn't get everywhere as I go to glue it down. I'm just going to put a piece of this behind it. There's just glue everywhere. So I'm just going to do this to hold it in place. But make sure it's not showing onto the front. Okay. And that way you have a little bit of time to move your pieces around a little bit. Okay. All right. Okay. I think that's all the little plants I'm going to do for right now. I can always go back in and add more if I need to. All right. So now that I've glued some plants in place on my little shelves, I just did 3 right now. Again, you can always go in and add more. I'm going to add some little X's onto my little cactus. All right. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, see the vellum here, how it's not glued down anywhere else here? That's actually good. So on the top here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and glue our middle piece of our little greenhouse here, and that's going to go down, but not down and touch and glue down to the bottom, just in the middle there, so we have an idea of where we're going to put our plants. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue here just on the well, actually, I could probably put it on the back side there, but I'm also putting a little bit on the front, on the right side here, just to kind of remind me where I'm going to tuck that in. I'm going to lift this up, I'm going to lay this down in here, and I'm going to kind of press it so that it's going to kind of land right here, just slightly to the right. So then that way that little, make sure my black is straight, but then that middle piece there, that's going to land right there, and that's where that's going to be. So I'm actually just going to glue that down. It doesn't need to be glued in place quite yet because I need to glue down my other little plants. And you can decide where you want to glue those down. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of overlap here, so I'm just going to put some glue on the back side of the black there. I'm going to glue that down. Okay. Oop. All right, so we have 2 plants in there, and then I'm going to do this one probably right there. Okay. And if you got any other glue anywhere else, you want to make sure to dry that off or wipe it away so it doesn't show up on the front side of the vellum. All right, so this is what we have so far. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, I just love that. So I chose some kind of bolder kind of plants there because it's really not my plan for them to be super intricate, because then they might be kind of hard to see. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tuck in one little bird like he got kind of stuck in the little greenhouse there. I'm going to add a couple little, maybe a couple little empty, I'll add like one little empty shelf over here on the side. And maybe this is where my little bird's going to sit. He's just peeking over, like he accidentally got trapped in there. Because you know, that happens with birds. Whoops. Come on, little guy. There we go. Okay, so now I can go ahead and add my glue right down here in the middle. Right underneath where that line is going to be for the top of your greenhouse there. And now the rest of these little pieces are going to go in place, and we're just going to go ahead and finish that off here. Again, we're only gluing on the vellum, not onto the base part of the paper, except I guess down here at the bottom now we can, because we're going to be gluing, because all of this is kind of, we're finishing off our card here. Okay, so now we're gluing the vellum there. Oops. I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down, gluing our pieces in place. Alright, ignore all my scraps of paper everywhere. Alright, and then of course you have your little birds, and you have all these free birds which are going to be hanging out here, because they were smart and did not get trapped inside the greenhouse. Or not to be little blackbirds or little crows or something. You know how birds are, they're always looking in, like, hey, what's going on in there? Oh, except at the bottom here, we're going to go ahead and put one of these all the way across. I just realized that this is crooked. Make sure that's not crooked. That's an important piece. Alright, and then a piece along the bottom. And that is going onto the card base as well, and that's going to help seal everything in. And then you can use your extra pieces here if you decide want to add some extra parts of into your greenhouse. It kind of depends on where you want your pieces to kind of be. I just want you to make sure, I'm not going to really add a whole lot more in here because I really don't want to block out where my plants are. So I guess I could add one more right there on the right side. I think that would actually look okay. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do that on the far right side though, because it will end up blocking out my sentiment. And you can always do other little plants on the inside too. I think for me personally, I'm going to add some more birds on the inside because I think that would be really cute. And I'm going to add some birds kind of all around here as well, because birds are always kind of interested in what's going on. Like, I would like to know what's happening. And since I have a thinking of you, I'm going to add a little birdie over here kind of near the thinking of you, because I think that's kind of sweet. Oh, do I have any birds left? Yes, I do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and trim off my little black pieces here. Anything hanging off the edge. Oops. So my black was hanging off the edge too. Alright, I'm going to do a little birdie on the inside. I actually have two little birdies. And they just happen to be facing each other. How convenient is that? So I'm going to go ahead and put those on the inside. Which I think is so sweet, especially if you like your friend and you're chatting. Ah, so cute! Alright, you guys. So that is today's little greenhouse card. Thinking of you and the little birdies inside. Oh my gosh, these actually turned out really good. I'm really happy with the little miniature. Ah, so fun! Alright, you guys, that's the greenhouse cards today. Enjoy! Have a fun day!